Welcome back, everybody. My name is Matt, Cryptic if you prefer, and today we're talking about another Hypershade node. In this series, I'm trying to go through every single Hypershade node that I can teach you on, because Hypershade can be a really confusing topic, so I think it's best to just kind of go one by one and then figure out how we can integrate these later and use them in our shaders and build our own custom shaders, because the reality is you can do so much in Maya with shaders that the options are kind of endless. So today we're going to be talking about a very specific node. It's a really nice one for kind of faking curved edges. So say you're working on a project that you don't really have the ability to add a bunch of edge loops and a bunch of supporting geometry, but you need to have them look rounded. This is what we're going to be accomplishing today. So without taking too long, make sure you've hit that subscribe button, because it does help the channel and it keeps you up to date on when I post and when I bring out new content. And make sure you also hit the like button, because that helps us even more. If you want to take that step a little bit further, you can join as a member, or you can subscribe to my Patreon, where you get access to free models every month and you get your name in the credits of my videos as a supporter of the channel. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this. Okay, so we have some really basic models here. I just wanted to set up two ones and then a light so we can just kind of see what we're going on. So both of these currently have just an AI standard surface assigned to them. So we can see, the light's shining on it, looks great. We will go ahead and, let's see, we're gonna go ahead and move Hypershade down here so we can take a look at what's going on. So here is our material. So you're all familiar with AI standard surface. This is how we've been building all these different shaders. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna add the AI rounded corner shader. This node is super awesome for faking rounded corners. What this node does is it works off of your normals on your models. So it looks at the directions of your normals and it tries to fake the rounded corner. You have to be pretty specific with this one because it does require a little bit of tweaking, otherwise it just kind of breaks and the illusion's kind of gone. But if you're trying to save on geometry, save on scene size, this is a really good way to fake this. So what we're gonna do, when you open this, you're probably just gonna see this node. We're gonna hit these three little stacks right here to open everything up. And we're going to go take this out value and we're gonna throw this into our normal camera. And so if I minimize my Hypershade now, you can see nothing's really changing in our viewport. Go to Arnold. You can see now that our shader looks entirely different. You can see that we're getting this nice kind of like rounded look on our objects. And it holds up, but it's very dependent on what you set it up for and what object it's applied to. So you can see that the illusion here is kind of just blurring everything together. This is because this is kind of a sharper object. We don't really have a lot to work with here, whereas like with this, it kind of follows the natural shape of the object. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna adjust the shader a little bit. We're gonna play with these parameters. So we're gonna focus on this object today. So the options for the rounded corners, there's only a couple. There's your samples, which are going to be the amount of samples that are applied to the rounded corner itself. If you're confused by how that works, check out Autodesk documentation. There's a lot of good information on how that works. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna up this to about 8. That's just gonna give us a little bit more samples on the corners, so that way we get a little bit better of a rounding effect. And then from here, we're gonna adjust the radius. So I know on this object already through testing that 100 is just too much. But if we go down to 0.25, you can see now we get a much better result. So we still have these really nice kind of curved beveled edges without adding all of that insane detail. And there's a couple of other different settings in here that you can adjust as well. One of the things I wanted to talk about is how we can add another normal map to this. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna go render viewport. I'm gonna open our Hypershade back up. And so we're gonna add another normal map to this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and add to the shader. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a file texture. So we'll just tab and search that. And then I already have a texture assigned for this, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to my desktop, and it's going to be this guy. It's just a little rock normal texture. So we'll hit open there. And so this is now kind of where we need to figure out how we attach this to this. So what we have to do is we have to create another AI normal. That AI normal map is going to be kind of the driver for this texture. So we're gonna take the out color, go to the input, and then we're gonna take the out value of this and then go to the AI rounded corner. You can see that dragging this to this does nothing. But if we take it to this dot, we're gonna get this other option. That's gonna open up this little option box, this input selection. We're gonna hit normal. That's going to apply it to the normal channel on this. Now we have full control over how that's working. So if I minimize this, we should see that in our viewport. Okay, cool. So you can see now we have this normal kind of applied to this, and this model doesn't have any UVs, so let me fix that real quick. I'm just gonna camera project them real quick. Actually, automatic will be fine, just for this example. So you can see now that we're getting our normal texture outside of that on top of the rounded corners. So this is how you would take another normal map and then start layering them in. So technically, if you were merging a bunch of normal maps together, you would take a couple different normal maps, you would use an AI mix node or any of the other nodes we talked about, like layer-wise, and we'd funnel those into that AI normal node. Then we'd funnel that into the rounded corner node and then into our AI standard surface. So you'd kind of have this like tree effect for this actual texture. But you can see now how we're getting that really nice normal detail alongside this nice rounded detail. So it's honestly a really simple shader, and you can see right here, like, this is not a very complex shader node, but you can see how now we have all this nice control. So if I go into my AI normal, I can control the strength of this. So if I go just scale this real quick and I pull the strength down on this, you can see how we can now adjust that strength independently of the strength of our rounded edges. The rounded corner shader is super great for faking this detail. I do want to mention though, again, it's not necessarily, if you're going for super close up, almost macro shots, it's not going to be the best thing to use, because again, we're faking that effect. This isn't actual geometry. So eventually the closer you get, the more that effect is going to kind of fail, and it's just not going to look realistic. So the idea here is, say you have a tank tread and you need to fake the rounded corners from a distance, but you definitely don't want to add that much geometry. I should have done that in one of my other projects, but I was stupid and didn't do that. This is how you'd want to do that, because we can get away with setting up our entire shader, but we can fake that detail in render. As long as we're not getting super close to it, no one's ever gonna know. So use this how you would sparingly. It's never going to replace actually adding the geometry in there, especially if you're required to. But this gets you a lot further if you are, say, working with a scene that needs to be super light, or you really just don't want to add a bunch of supporting edge loops and you're not going to get that close to your model. But anyway, that's it for this video. I wanted to do a really quick video going over the configuration and the use of this node, as well as stacking a couple other nodes to give you an idea on how we can actually use this in practice without completely losing our maps that we have generated from, say, Substance Painter or Quixel. This shows you that it is possible to fake that stuff as well as use your actual maps that you need to use. So I hope you found this informative. I hope you're enjoying this series on Hypershade, and I hope you're finding it to be educational and you're learning some new nodes that you maybe didn't know existed before. So let me know down in the comments if you learned something new today, if there's another node you'd like me to talk about, or if you're confused on how to get something to happen with your shader, because I'm all for expanding this series and making sure people have a good understanding, because I know Hypershade is one of those things that really stresses people out. There is so much to it, and there are so many different nodes that there's a lot to learn. So if you made it this far, please make sure you've liked the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one.